Hi guys. All right, so this week in science, last week we talked about matter. So matter, remember, is anything that has mass and takes up space. So my pen is matter, my water's matter, the air is matter, anything that takes up space and can be measured with mass. And so remember, we measure mass in grams. And then there are different forms of matter that we're going to start talking about this week and next week. So one of those forms is solids. So that's what we're talking about this week. So my pen is a solid, right? And we're going to talk about what makes it a solid, because we know that it's solid, right? It's not liquid like water. It's not gas like the air. But what makes it a solid? So one thing that really we can use to classify solids is to say that it takes a shape all its own. It does not take the shape of a container that I put it in. It keeps its shape. So if I have a cup and I put the pen in the cup, it's not going to change its shape. It still is shaped like a pen, no matter if it's in the cup or not. Same thing if I put it in a bowl. It's the same shape, still a pen. And same if I put it on a plate, it's still a pen, okay? It still has the same exact shape, no matter if I'm holding it up in the air or if it's in one of those containers. Same thing with this cracker, okay? Doesn't matter if I put the cracker in the bowl, or put the cracker in the cup, or put the cracker on the plate. It's still going to be its same shape. It's still going to be a solid or it's still going to keep its shape because it's a solid, okay? Same thing with this ice cube, okay? This ice cube has its own certain shape. There's a mold in the freezer that makes the water freeze into this shape of ice cube. And no matter if I put it in a bowl or in a cup or on the plate, it still has the same shape. That's kind of hard to see, sorry. See, there we go. So it's still going to have the same shape. Now, there are ways that I could change the shape of a solid, right? I could break the cracker, right? Now it has a different shape, but I had to apply a physical force to it for that to happen, okay? I could also change the shape of this ice cube by what? What do you think I could do? I could add heat to it, right? If I added heat to it, it would start to melt and it would change its shape because it's getting smaller as the more liquid comes out of it, okay? And then we've got a whole other situation on our hands with the fact that it's a liquid now, okay? So there are several ways that we can measure solids. One of those ways is with a ruler. So we can measure the length of a solid with a ruler. Let me do this so you can see a little better. Oh goodness. Okay, so if I line this pen, I always want to start at 0, and I can see that this pen is just about 5.5 inches is where it stops. So I could use that to describe this solid, as I could say it's 5.5 inches long. Or I could measure it with centimeters and again line it up with 0, and I could say this is about 14 centimeters long because it lines up with 14 right here. I know that's kind of hard to see. I could also measure the distance around an object. And the way that I do that is you can take any piece of string, or you could even take like a towel or anything where you can measure, where you can see where something starts and where it ends. So all I'm doing is wrapping the string around it, and wherever it meets back at the beginning, I'm gonna mark that with my finger, and it's right here. So now I can say that this pen is this distance around, and now I can put that with the ruler and say, okay, this pen is 1.5 inches around, okay? So that's another way we can measure solids. Another way is with balance, is how it's described in the textbook, which unfortunately I don't have my triple beam balance here at home, but I do have this food scale. And so the scale measures things in whatever unit I ask it to. So this is right now set to pounds and ounces, but I could also make it set to grams, okay? So grams are the unit that we're most likely going to see with science. So I could place my pen on the scale balance, and it is 8 grams. So that's another way I could describe this solid. So just to recap, the way that I can describe a solid is that it keeps its shape no matter what container I put it in. And I can also measure, the length. I can measure the mass. I can measure the distance around. I could also describe it using properties. I could say this is pink. I could say this is smooth. I could say that this has silver writing on it. I could say that it's a pretty skinny pen. It's not like a fat marker. So I could use lots of ways to describe this using its properties of matter. All right, guys, thanks for watching.